Hi and welcome to the Art of Learning. Well, it's that time of the year. Be it JEE, board exams, stress, anxiety. Some rose up to the occasion, some struggled. Some are left wondering whether the board exams have become easier. Others question how parents and teachers should react. All that and more in today's episode. So make sure to like, subscribe, follow and add this to your playlist wherever you're watching or listening. And let's get into this. Well, let's start off with today's main highlight. The JEE first session is pretty much done, and that has brought up a lot of different success stories and a lot of questions as well. I am not planning to go into a deep dive into how these sessions were, but I want you to focus a little bit on the success stories that you can find all over the internet. Well, I've compiled some of them, and what you can notice is their approach towards studying for JEE. So, as an example, one of the toppers, if I am right, is Vishal Jain, who managed scoring a 100 percentile. He is from Kandivali, Maharashtra. His success story is pretty much highlighted by his use of the NCERT textbooks for chemistry. That's what you'll see in a lot of different articles. That one of them I've referred to for myself. But what he did was he cleared his basics out and built up on those basics for his JEE attempt. Another one of the toppers, if I am right, is Sakshi Kumari. She's been solving a lot of mock tests. Well, you'll notice a lot of these tips that all of these toppers will give. You can go across, you can go on YouTube, you can go on to Google, you can go on to the rest of the internet and find this, that every person had some kind of a strategy that is not too unique. It's not that you'll find someone who's exclusively studying for like 22 hours a day. That's not happening. You'll find 6 to 8 hours on an average as a self-study time, apart from their schools, apart from their coaching institutions and much more. Well, what does it bring into the picture here? Simply that the strategies that you and I both are aware of and can implement bring success to a lot of these kids. The question will be why? What separates these kids from the rest of the crowd? Because on an average, every year, only 250,000 qualify for JEE Advanced, and around 11 to 12 lakh students appear for JEE Mains. Can you see the divide? So what makes those 250,000 that special when they're using the exact same things? One simple keyword: passion. If you are passionate about doing something and you're passionate about achieving results, you can make it happen. It's that simple. There is no rocket science behind it. There's no crazy thing that's happening here. It's simply passion. When I went through all of these articles for around 4 to 5 different toppers, what I did notice was that everyone had this goal of doing this, of giving this exam, of getting into engineering from the get-go itself. Most of these people wanted to get into either computer sciences or mathematics or physics, and they knew that this was their goal to achieve. JEE was their goal to achieve, and they did so because they wanted to do so. So what happens when you hear a lot of those failure stories where maybe there might be someone around you who is also giving JEE but does not really do well? There are multiple reasons that this could happen. And the most common that I encounter as a teacher is that the student really did not want to give that exam in the first place. They had their passion somewhere else. And when that happens, you're not going to see results where you're not really wanting to put the effort in. You're never going to see those results. These success stories come entirely by passion. And the moral of the story for you people will be to understand where your passion lies before it's too late. Now for another question that kind of came up in my circles was that Board exams that are right now ongoing, are they getting easier? A lot of people have asked this question to me. A lot of people are still wondering as to what's changing over the years. Because I distinctly remember during my board exams, yes, the questions were baseline, sure. When I looked at the CBSE English paper for 10th grade, I found them to be even easier. And it even left me wondering as to why this was a willing choice made. Many people can chalk this to compulsory passing, that's been the norm over the years. Many people can talk about the relative literacy rate. What I feel people don't really notice or understand is that like such actions are almost always reactions to something. Why did compulsory passing come into the picture? Because, and in the RT document itself, the mention was to create and empower diverse groups of learners. And why is it getting struck down? Because students are not really equipped with the right skills by the time they reach certain milestones that they should have gotten the time to do so. So in fact, failing in a sense is nothing but a deferral, some extra time given for that learner to catch up. And not every state has been really that open to that. As of now, Assam, Bihar, Gujarat, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Punjab, Rajasthan, Sikkim, Tripura, Uttarakhand, West Bengal, Delhi, Daman and Diu and Dadra and Nagar Haveli are the only states in Union Territories that have removed this compulsory passing for grades 5th and 8th. That means in these states and Union Territories and within public schools, if you are not showing the competence level that is expected at the 5th grade level or at the 8th grade level, you are deferred by 2 months. You can retake that exam in those 2 months, and within those 2 months, you are given guidance by your teachers. You and your parents, rather, are given guidance by the teachers. And if still you're not able to clear those exams, you're pulled back a year so that you take that time to get back to whatever you need to do. In a way, this makes sense because every learner can learn, but every learner learns differently. And every learner should be given the time to do so. But what stops this learning process is the stigma behind failing. Because it's been ingrained in our minds over the years that if you're failing, that means you're just not cut for it. That means you have failed in life. That's so not true. And that will never be true. Every learner has some special capability within them that they just need the right guidance to take out of them. And these learners who may require more time, what I Learners Club put into something called as a slow track, when these learners need more time, they must be given that much time to learn. Because at the end of the day, the goal is not to have a particular pace of learning, rather to make sure that the learning that's occurring is of quality. And this is something that we have been struggling for years together, decades together for that matter, to focus more on quality. Because now let me shift to private educators or private education spaces as a whole. Most of them, in my experience, rely entirely on the passing percentage to promote their business. The passing percentage is supposed to showcase the competence level of the teachers within that institution. But a lot of these students are pushed ahead purposefully to show that they're able to manage to do that. Because even a little bit of failed students, quote unquote failed students, may ruin their reputation, because the moment that data is visible, everyone's question would just be why they are failing. What stopped them from passing? This is the stigma I'm talking about. Because we look at failing in that manner. Rather, if we focused on learner quality as a whole, that we focus on prioritizing and marketing whatever we do as the long-term quality that the learners get, we are going to be going a long way. So, what can an educator or a parent do for a child who is struggling? Because yes, it is a very stressful thing for the child and for the parent, and it is equally stressful for the teachers. But there are a lot of things that can be done. As I mentioned, the mindset with which we are looking at things, we are looking at passing and failing as the black and white, that definitely can change, and that should change, in fact. Moreover, resources must be disseminated in the right manner, because everyone has those resources that are provided to them at the educational front. But who is going to give them around to those educators on ground and to those parents? That is a question that must be asked. How can the educator empower the learner and their parents is an equally important question to ask. So bottom line, the role of a parent and of a teacher within such sections cannot be stressed enough, because they are the support system of our learners. If a learner fails an exam, all resources must go towards supporting that learner to build up their skills, rather than trying to completely alienate them or to discourage them. That's not the right way to go about things. We cannot leave our learners behind, and we should not leave our learners behind. The success stories that I mentioned earlier, do you think they would have happened alone? Definitely not. They are provided a good support system. One of the toppers within this first attempt, Om Prakash Behera, had his mother, who was a lecturer if I'm right, in Odisha, move with him to Kota to support him. All of these people, or rather most of these people, do have a very strong support system, and that is essential for a learner's journey. To be supported by the people around them, academically, emotionally, mentally, physically, every manner. And these success stories are not really that singled out. They're not too unique. Every learner has their own success story. We just need to celebrate them. And to those learners who wish to create the success stories, we need to support them.